Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be telling you what I learned in my first year of game dev. I will also be letting you know any mistakes that I have made so you do not make the same. But before we get started, please make sure to click that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Man, I can't believe it's already been a year since I have started my indie game dev journey. I want to share with you all the things I have learned and mistakes that I have made so you do not make the mistakes. So let's get started. Number 1, tutorial hell. When I started learning how to make games, I kept following beginner videos and tutorials for months. And at the end, I realized that I learned basically nothing. This is because I'm blindly following someone else's work, but not my own. What I recommend is to watch a couple of beginner videos and then take those ideas and make a minimalistic mini game with the principles you have learned while watching those videos. Number 2, pick your game engine and stick with it. Last year, I had decided to try out Unreal Engine. I heard a lot of great things about it, so I figured I may as well use that as opposed to Unity. I did not like it at all. It felt very clunky and non-intuitive. So I then went over to Unity. I thought Unity was way better and it was easier for me to understand, but then the more I worked in Unity, I was getting overwhelmed and felt like I didn't know what I was doing. Actually, I almost went back to Unreal Engine, if you can believe it or not. But then I told myself, no Nick, stick with Unity so you can learn the ropes. Do not start from scratch all over again. So I did just that, and I am really glad that I did. I love using Unity now. And at the end of the day, the whole thing with Unreal Engine with me not liking it, the reason could be I was just a beginner, so I didn't really know what I was doing. Because it was funny, so going from going from Unreal Engine over to Unity was a little easier for me to learn, at least navigating the scene and stuff, because it's basically a little bit of it's the same, so the same principle kind of went over, so it was easier me migrating from Unreal Engine over to Unity a little bit, especially since I was in the beginner stages. So it could have just been that I was a beginner and I just did not like how Unreal Engine felt to me at the time. Who knows? Now if I went over to Unreal Engine, I could really like it, but I'm way too deep into Unity. I do not want to start all over again. Number 3, learn Photoshop, Blender, or both. When working on my game, I needed to start making my own assets. If you watched my last devlog video, you saw a pistol my character was holding. I made that in Blender. Even if you decide to grab assets off of the asset store, I highly advise you to take that asset and put it either into Photoshop or Blender to tweak it. This is so your game does not look like anybody else's. I know Photoshop is expensive and all of you may not be able to afford it. So if you are unable to afford Photoshop, then I would recommend you use GIMP as an alternative. GIMP is a free open source software that you can use. Number 4, pick a game idea and follow through. This year, I have started working on 3 different game ideas, if you can believe it or not, and then I canned all of them, and inevitably went back to my first idea. In the beginning of the year, I worked on an FPS game, a side scroller, and they got way more ambitious and started working on an RPG. That was a huge mistake. The RPG was way too ambitious, especially for me as an indie game dev when I'm working by myself. It would have taken me years to make and get done. I then decided to go back to my first idea of an FPS. I've always liked FPS games such as COD, Doom, Far Cry, etc. I could have gotten a lot more done than I have now if I didn't just hop from idea to idea. I should have just stuck with my first idea and followed through to the end. Number 5, it's okay to be stuck on an issue. As you are working on your game, there will be many times that you are stuck on an issue and cannot figure it out. When that happens to me, what I will do, I will get up and make lunch, dinner, or even go on a brief walk. As I'm just casually thinking about the issue I'm having in the game and or run a bunch of different scenarios in my head. A lot of the time, I actually think of the solution. For example, a week ago, I was making a basic UI to sync with the ammo I have in my inventory. When picking up the ammo, my ammo reserve that is not loaded in the gun, the UI was showing the number 1, which should not be the case. I should have had 10 rounds in it. So I got up and made myself some lunch. I came back and decided that I'm going to pause the game view and go to the scene view to see if I can find out what's going wrong. I realized that the ammo in reserve UI transform was not big enough. It could not hold more than 1 digit. I made the fix and it worked. Keep in mind, this took me about half a day to figure out. Number 6, do not be afraid to use AI such as Grok or ChatGPT. There have been many times that I would have errors in my code and I couldn't figure it out. I had researched online for hours because I was way too stubborn to use AI to help me. I then caved one day and decided to try out ChatGPT. It surprisingly was able to help me narrow down what the issue was. To this day, I still use the AI to help me when I need it. Now I use Grok because I feel like it is way more accurate and it spits out the info a lot faster than what ChatGPT does. Alright, that was all I had for you. I hope you learned something from the mistakes I have made over the last year. Do not forget to click the like and subscribe button and have a great rest of your day.